All right, folks, are you serious? Are you serious? Welcome to another powerful broadcast on the coming apocalypse. And today we're going to take a look at the infrastructure of the United States of America and really maybe around the world. You have to think about the power grid, how we depend so much on energy, especially electricity. And we can get electricity several different ways, whether it be coal plants or, wind, solar, even nuclear. But when you start thinking about these things, you have to worry about concerns, let's say, of a solar flare that hits the power grid, like the Carrington event that we had, or an EMP attack, like a nuclear detonation by one of the enemies. But what does it mean with our the atomic energy when we look at our nuclear facilities? How safe are they, and what should we need to know during this time, I think, of probably dangerous times? So we're going to ask Stan Deyo to come be with us here today. Stan, it's great to have you on the broadcast from EMP Shield. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Paul. And should I say, are you serious for you?
Yes, you should. Oh, man. Well, I mean, we're under a new administration now. There's a lot of shifting, a lot of people getting in position. But I understand, the football's been passed. Okay, the generals are in position. Everything should be okay. But we're hearing some of the rumblings out there, some of the chatter out there that maybe there's some concerns with our nuclear facilities. Is there any info you could share with us?
There are certain things I can share with you because we are, our facility in Kansas there is under a security order. I can't tell you what is happening there and what information we got coming and going there, but let me say that, first of all, there are about 98 nuclear power stations operating in the United States now, contrary to what Obama may have said. Those are publicly available on the nrc.gov site. But now that tells you the public addresses for those 98 nuclear power reactors. There are others, undisclosed amount, others that are in military installations, and they are smaller. On my show images page, Brock, if you can go over there to our website, standeo.com, and then over near the microphone, click on show images. I'm going to show you something, or have you click on it. Tell me when you get there, Brock. Is he okay? Okay, when he gets there, he'll tell us. But I've got images and links to places that are like the Skunk Works and things like that, that right now are admitting publicly that they're researching small fusion reactors. And this is about the size of a Volkswagen, maybe a little bit longer, a fusion reactor. And we've got several of those, several types of reactors that are available to the military and to NASA for long space voyages and various other things. So you can see that these things will fit in a sea container on the back of a truck there. They're small. Now, there are, as I say, an undisclosed number of these, undisclosed locations, publicly, that needed to be protected. And certainly our company is doing things like that. We've already tested an EMP shield for a major city in Texas to guard the entire power supply there, the main power supply company, to guard it with a device that will instantly, pretty much instantly, disconnect that power station from the grid so it doesn't get fried by an EMP pulse coming down the line at 100,000 volts or whatever. We have 39 publicly listed devices and others that they've developed over at the factory. Now, we're not going to have enough to protect the whole nation. Things didn't get started until late into the administration. There have been preparations made for EMP pulses on military devices. They are not sufficient for what is coming. The older ones that are like 10 years older, they are not sufficient to handle the pulse width of what is coming in the new Chinese and North Korean EMP pulses or bombs. So we've got to look at two things. We've got to look at EMP attacks, and we got to look at solar coronal mass ejections. And right now,
is China and North Korea really the main concerns, or would you throw Iran or even Russia in there, or is it mainly China and North Korea?
China is the main developer of these technologies. China may have them, may have shared it with North Korea. Russia has done some, but the player that we're most concerned with is China, because of the way they make these magnetic, electromagnetic pulse bombs. There is a difference in the voltage level produced by the gamma ray burst and things like that. Don't need to get technical about it, but they know that we have certain devices to shield. And so they've been trying to find a workaround. Sadly, technology at this point doesn't allow them to do that. We're ahead of them for the time being. But now, as I say, we've got two problems. We've got warfare EMPs, and we've got solar EMPs. Now, I want to treat the solar one first because it's the the Sasquatch in the room. It's big.
Right.
Right now, today is the 27th, on spaceweather.com, their lead article, and it's a big one. What if a perfect CME hit the Earth? Now, why are they doing that now? Because they are, the solar observatories and stuff, I've been aware of this too. We've been watching the sun in this particular solar cycle. It's just started in the last year. And the surface of the sun is thinning in places, and it's allowing small sunspot openings to actually do more damage, to release more magnetic fields and CMEs. We are concerned that we may see a phase state, a change in the nuclear equation for the sun happening in the next 7 or 8 years. Could happen tomorrow. If you go to that spaceweather.com article, you'll see a photo there of a former, big flare.
I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that right now. What if a perfect CME hit the Earth? It does show this, folks, over at spaceweather.com, and Brock's probably got the picture already. It shows you this massive solar flare, and I think this might have been, I don't know when this one happened, but that's insanely huge, Stan.
Yeah, it is. I forget now. It was in the last, probably 15 years sometime. I forget what that picture is from, but in fact, let me just click on the more button here and I can tell you if it comes up, blah, 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 blah. January of 2002.
Wow.
Now, if that had been aimed at us, like you say, it would have been bad. This report shows, with more accurate information, and there's some sub-reports you can click on off of this page, that the next solar CME might be 10 to 50 times greater than the Carrington event. 10 to 50 times that, okay? Now, the side of the Earth that's facing the sun at that time is going to be where the major brunt of that's going to hit.
Right.
If it's accompanied by other ejecta coming off of the sun, like in a wave, a whole shell release, that could heat the planet up like, the light coming from it would be 7 times as bright as daylight for a short, brief moment. And that side of the planet would be roasted. There's no question about that. However, the CME doesn't always produce that kind of heat. In fact, never. The CME produces electromagnetic vibrations in a wave that hits our electric field of the planet and raises the voltage on our power lines and, various other long wires that collect the charge. Now, these things can last for hours. A solar EME can be raising the voltage for hours. And because of that, it allows it to build up capacity discharges along power lines, along communication lines, telephone lines, household power lines, everything. And this will make arcs come down from the towers that hold the power lines up,
right,
and start fires. Because we've been in drought in a lot of places, and these will start fires from this. Now, our EMP devices are different than the old military ones in that ours doesn't self-destruct. And you can hit it 40 times, at least we test that way in the factories and in the government testing, and they keep going. Now, it's important for something like this that you have it there because the solar EMP lasts for so long. The enemy, atom bomb type thing, that one lasts for, maybe a millionth of a second. It's here and gone, and our shields protect you, and then things return to normal eventually. One EMP bomb ionizes, charges the atmosphere underneath it. So if two or three EMP bombs are launched at us, the first one will hit us, but the other ones will be shielded from us by the air itself, which has become charged from the first bomb. So if they launch a bunch of them, only one of them is going to count for a few hours.
Yeah.
It's just a minor fact, but still that's there. So you still, even if you survive one, you still want to be cautious for subsequent ones within 3, say, to 4 hours, because the enemy knows this as well as we do. Okay, so we got to prepare for solar and for nuclear detonations to produce EMP pulses. And in my opinion, the most frightening one is the solar one because of the strength of it. It's just huge, and for the duration of it. Our device will protect against that, but there are other dangers you got to watch for, like, fire and things like that out in the prairie where the lines are, and from the power box coming to your house. I suggest that even with an EMP shield, are you there? Paul, your mic's off. Can't hear you.
Brock, are you there?
Okay.
Okay, there you are.
It's come back now.
Yeah.
And what were you saying? Sorry, I didn't.
I was saying that device, folks, at empshield.com. If you go to www.empshield.com, as Brock's been showing you, that device fits in that your electrical panel. It's very easy. And I was looking at how these were done. It's not that hard. But what you're saying is it prevents that overcharge from either the sun, solar flare, a plasma burst. I've heard that term, and you can tell us more about that, or an EMP explosion. And it keeps from frying your not only your house electrical system, but all the appliances in the house. Is that right?
Yeah. Anything that's plugged into your breaker box is protected. Some smaller items may not need to be protected in your house, like portable radios or maybe sound systems and stuff like that, and TVs. If they're not plugged in, they're usually such a small, what we call footprint, that they won't collect enough voltage just in free space there to damage your circuits. One other thing that I want to add here just came to mind as we were talking about this solar EMP. Because it produces such huge amounts of current and voltage for such a long time, as I said, it'll start fires. So what you want to do is when everything gets kicked off, all your power gets kicked off by our EMP shield protecting you, go outside and be sure that there are no arcs happening outside in the yard between the transformer that gives you your power from the power company and your house outside, because these things can short out and catch grass on fire and stuff like that. We are protecting inside the house, the electronics, and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But we're going to do that here. I've even had a switch installed by our solar power people so that I can go out and pull this switch down, manually. Yeah. Totally disconnect the grid from my house, because those arcs can be like 2 inches long. Yeah. And you don't want them jumping across your breakers. So it's another thought as an extra insulation thing for later.
And you're putting your product, EMP Shield, your product is actually not only going into people's homes, which folks we highly recommend you get, but in your cars, your truck, your car, your vehicles, to keep from frying all those components.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, and that's available right there at your website, emp.com. Tell them about it, empshield.com.
Yeah, and not only that, we have them for your generators like Generacs and things like that, or diesel generators, whatever you got. We have them for those to protect them, because they're not always plugged into your breaker box, until they're needed. And as a result, they're hanging out there, and they need to be shielded with an EMP shield as well. So we've got a special one for that. We got a special several for solar power panels, because each type of solar system out there has a different voltage level that it delivers to the converter, inverter for your house. So we have those. We have them for wind systems, like wind turbines and things like that. We have it for that, for cars, for tractors, that kind of stuff. Let me just see here. I can probably just go over there and do it this way. I'll just be sure I don't miss anything. But you can go to empshield.com and pull down the shop button, and it says for home protection, vehicle, for your RVs, generators, solar wind protection, for HF, UHF, radios, for 200 watt to 1,000 watt, one for the antenna up, for 1,000 watt. Right. So anyway, for ham radio people, you want to protect your radio. So we've addressed all that we can think of, and designed at least 39 for public consumption of these type of devices. So go to that site there, as Paul said.
Folks, if you go to that site, www.empshield.com, use the promo code Begley, I believe. Is it?
Yeah. That's your code. Yeah.
Yeah. Use the promo code Begley and get a more of a discount as well. And get this product and get it, because I tell you, the sun, before we talk about nuclear attacks, the sun is awakened out of a very short solar minimum. Usually it's a lot longer, and this one I've never seen anything like that. It has, and it's become very volatile fast. Now, some of that could be from, the gravitational pull or the energy from binary system. That's been discussed by a lot of people. But whatever it is that's causing the sun to become so volatile, even Bible prophecy said the sun is going to become extremely violent and volatile. That affects the earth. And so let's just be real. We're going to be seeing more and more plasma bombs, explosions. Is this correct?
I believe so. I mean, I'm not a prophet, but based on the science of the coronal mass ejection, things like that. Hold on just a second here. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Heidi, if you want to call Israel, tell him. Okay. Myself. Okay. So, it's the last number I called. If you look at the power of this, the sun, why is the sun becoming so much more volatile? And do you believe it will even be worse?
Oh, yeah, I do. And look, all stars like ours age. And as they age, there are different things that occur in their solar emissions of various frequencies and energy that they release. In 1992, the solar observatories around the world found that the sun was emitting 2 new ultraviolet frequencies. And since then, they haven't made it public about what else is happening, but it was signaling a change in the nuclear reaction that has been the sun for eons and eons. That tells us that we don't understand completely how the sun works and other stars. Now, normally they would say that our star is not going to go like a mini nova or a pre red giant stage or that. But because of the way that we've done timing of the universe age and the Earth, there's been a mistake in that. And it's so big a mistake that these things, the aging of stars, could be a lot quicker than billions of years, a lot quicker. So this is what we're having a problem with in the scientific community, because some understand this, others don't, and they argue. But I would err on what we're seeing now. We're seeing instability in the surface of the sun that we've not had since we started recording this data. That space weather article, why did they put that up today? I mean,
why did they?
Yeah. I mean, this is just out of the blue, and so they're trying to kind of subtly say to you, we might have a problem coming. Okay, and so you better prepare, for your normal preparedness for emergencies, do that, but also the EMP shield. And maybe you want to investigate getting solar power. I mean, some states are paying you to get solar power, and you don't have to pay for it, because they swap your power bill because you're feeding energy back to the grid. So there are cheaper ways to get auxiliary power. Generac, I don't know if you can sell that back to the grid. I'm not sure, but certainly with solar power, they have it in place. We have it here at our house.
Right.
So investigate these things urgently, because whether it's nuclear war, and that's a real clear and present danger, or whether it's from the sun, which might be tomorrow in the next 10 seconds, I don't know. I mean, these two areas are uncertain at the moment, and in my opinion, they're both clear and present dangers too.
It sounds to me, and this is something that we never think about, but we always think about earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, yes, tsunami, or whatever. But the biggest, and people are prepping and preparing for apocalyptic events. But the one thing that people really are not preparing for is the worst possibility of all, and that's an absolute power outage that could last for months. This country and most countries are not ready for that. And that's your point. You gotta be thinking about that. You need solar energy. You gotta protect your components. There's a lot, your refrigerator, all the food you're storing. I mean, everything. It go off the chain. Water. It would really get ugly if this happened, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and the big transformers, these huge transformers that distribute power to the states and the counties. Where do we buy those? From China.
Oh, what do we always debate? Why do we outsource every vital thing, all of our intellectual property.
Well, President Trump and his administration made it clear to us and others that we want all products, all components made in the USA. It is insane to have your weapons and the weapons control systems made by China, Russia, or whatever. You see what I'm saying?
I know.
And he said that. He said, look, this is insane. Get rid of it.
Yep.
And now this current administration, that's kind of, whether it's legal or not, has already wanted to give China, a 3-month opportunity to hit our grid. He's undone some legislation that President Trump put in place. Look, in my opinion, there can be no other conclusion that the communists are initiating an overthrow of our government through our political process. We're at war. We are at war. You got to protect yourself.
And it's very, very serious. Folks, again, go stand Dale's with us. Go right now to www.empshield.com. That's www.empshield.com. Is your car protected? The truck, your RV, your home? Get these units. Go there now. Use the promo code Begley to get even a discount on top of that. And be sure you prepare. I can't stress it enough. We have to protect ourselves. This is a hostile world. Perilous times, the Bible said. Yes, Dan.
Paul, it reminded me, a lot of people who are buying EMP shields from us now are getting, 2 for the cars, 1 for the house, et cetera, at least 3 units. So what we've done is if you're buying 3 or more units, you can add an extra code on top of Begley, and you can say extra 10, EXTRA 10, and that'll give you another 10% off. That saves you nearly $90, per unit that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
That's big savings, folks. So use that. Use Begley and then extra 10. Put that in there so that you get that extra savings. And why not? If you're buying 3 or more. Okay.
That's right. Only if that. Now, one other thing, in case of nuclear attack, which I'd say when it comes, not if, we have on our show images page at standeo.com and click on the show images page. We have that up there for the rest of this week. We have links to 2 types of what's called dosimeters or Geiger counters in the common language. There's one called a Red 100, and it's a little small thing like that, digital, runs by battery, and you can go around your house, windows and stuff, and check for radiation, because if you're anywhere near, in fact, even a long way, if the wind carries it to you, a nuclear explosion over a city, it's going to leave a radiated dust that can, cause you harm, make you sick. And so we already had ours here at the house, but we got our yellow one, which is, like the civil defense one's, a big yellow metal box with a handle. And that we got from KI4U, KI4, the letter 4 and U. There are other places to get them online. And, that's almost like an analog. It has circuitry inside of it, but it's less prone to damage, from EMP pulses and things like that. It's in a metal casing and all that kind of stuff. So that is one, but a digital one, which is more current and made in America, is this RAD 100. And you go to our show images page, you click on that. It's a nuclear radiation monitor called the RAD 100. They have other models, but this is the most economic one. When I say economic, it's at GeigerCounters.com. And this one is $384. This is a distributor for the manufacturer. So it's a little bit cheaper than you get at the manufacturer. And we've got it. We've tested it here. It makes a little beeping sound just like in the movies. And it's about that big, It's a thin little thing you can put in your pocket, but you can run around and check stuff. If you survive a nuclear attack and people are bartering with you, say like food and other things that will be stored in your house, check it with this to be sure the radiation level is not hot.
Yeah, because you can't look at something and know if it's hot.
No.
And people are going to be trading meat and food and canned goods and all kinds of stuff, and you have no idea how much radiation level is on that. But with this little Geiger counter thing, it's called RAD 100. So it's it's at GeigerCounters.com, and they have bigger models and things. But for what we need, I've talked to the distributor about what we need. It's just individuals. The RAD 100 is all that we need. We don't need all the other bells and whistles. And but if you want them, they are there. Yeah, the RAD 100. So go to standale.com. Go to standale.com, and that link to that distributor is there. Is that right, Stan?
It's on show images. You have to click under the microphone. We got show images, and you'll see that there. Now, by next Tuesday morning, it'll be gone. I change over this page every week, but that's the hot news for the moment. And it's got that KI for you also has the iodine tablets, so that if you're exposed to it, radiation, you take that so that it soaks it up so it can't hurt you. Yeah. It goes into your thyroid. Anyway,
well, it's just the real thing. And you heard Stan say it. It's not if we're going to be attacked, it's when. And there's a lot of chatter out there, and I've talked to several different people out there in the intelligence community, and this is a serious situation. I'll put it to you that way. And it's clear and present danger is another good way to say that, Stan, as you did. Reality is this, guys. There are enemies against America, and certainly enemies against democracy or our way of life, if that's what you want to call it, a republic, whatever. Communists are looking to destroy us, whether they're externally or internally. Okay, so we're in a real war, and this is a real deal. So please do that. Go to www.empshield.com. That's www.empshield.com. Use the special code Begley. If you get 3 units, use Begley extra 10. Stan, also with all this going on, and all the people that are out there, I would think there's some quick movement going on. Is it maybe from the private sector like yourself, working with the government in ways to protect not only our power grids and our homes, but what about our nuclear installations?
Again, stats on that we can't publish, but we are addressing those issues. We have been for about 6 to 8 months. And we've had committees and set up, and we've been working with the government, as have other EMP manufacturers that are like a high-level thing, big, expensive things for bases and things like that. So we're all being approached to solve this problem, but sadly, we couldn't solve it for all the states, all the military installations, because of the amount of time and budget that the government had, they gave us. But we are doing what is humanly possible at the moment. And on that line, our personal things for EMP shields for your homes, the domestic sector, we are understandably seeing a surge in orders. So I would say place your order soon, because it might be a week to 2 before it can ship out, or longer, depending on the load we're getting. And we are getting.
We're getting lots of orders. You've even expanded your factory, I understand.
Yeah, we've doubled the size of it. Yeah, we've doubled the size of it. We now have about 49, maybe 50 employees now. And we're working double shifts, and they might go to 3 shifts shortly. So, don't waste time. Do that. And there was one other thing. I was just trying to remember what I was going to tell you about that. Gosh. Anyway, it'll come to me in a moment. Something to do with the warfare thing, nuclear attacks. Oh, gosh, my mind has gone blank.
Well, let's talk about this for a minute with Russia. I mean, we know that Vladimir Putin today at the Davos agenda said that if the world powers can't figure out how to get along or ease the tension, he said it's just going to be everyone against everyone.
Right. Okay. And on that line, I remember what I was going to say. Just got a news alert from Israel. The Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, have already been installing military options up on the top of Mount Hermon on the Lebanon side, not on the Syrian side. Yep. And so this is in preparation for probably nuking Damascus.
Whoa! Now you're talking Isaiah 17:1, right out of the scriptures.
Right out of the scriptures.
I've been there. And Stan, you probably have been there before.
I haven't been up on Mount Hermon. I've been into Israel.
Okay, me neither. I've been up on Mount Hermon, but if you go to the Golan Heights, I've been there a couple times. You can go right on this huge area where you stand out there and you can see for miles. And from there, you're looking right at Mount Hermon, and Mount Hermon, one side of it's Syria, the other side is Lebanon. You can see it. You stand there and you look right at it. That's where you're saying they're putting it at, on the Lebanon side, but it gives them a clear shot towards Syria.
Yeah, it's high ground, and certainly they've told Iran and Syria both, because you're letting Iranian missiles and stuff come in and be manufactured and assembled there. We're going to attack you, and they've already given them the warning about 3 times now. This is the last one today. If that happens, going to be an interesting time.
Yes, and basically, from what I understand, the Benjamin Netanyahu is basically saying to President Biden, if you go down this nuclear, trying to bring back this Iranian nuclear deal, you're forcing us to have to do a preemptive plan. Right? That was today. Like you said, it's the 3rd time, and I don't think they're going to warn much more. And Israel does what they say. I mean, they will. Wow.
They're going to be forced to. I mean, they're so small in area, even in population, compared to all the Arab countries around them. I mean, including Turkey. They're just going to have to be preemptive. They can't afford to let anybody strike them first and then retaliate.
No.
In fact, in our own policy here in the U.S., that first strike thing, wait until we've been hit and then return, that's madness.
It is. That's just a madman would say, wait till they shoot me before I shoot them. No, I think that's way too late. Way too late. And, by the way, folks, if you're wondering about the prophecy of this, I read it today. It's Jeremiah 49. In that chapter, Jeremiah talks about the destruction of Damascus, and then he talks about the destruction of Elam, coming from the 4 winds and that's Iran. Elam is Iran. And he says these will happen in the latter days, on the last verse of the chapter. So read Jeremiah 49, because Stan, what you're sharing with us today, this is a big prophecy information about setting this up on Mount Hermon. This is huge. Wow.
Yeah, well, Damascus, I mean, if you stand up on top of Mount Hermon, and look down, you can see Damascus. I mean, it's right over the top of, there would be no recourse for them to defend themselves if Israel launches from the top of Mount Hermon.
And Damascus is where Iran is setting up all of these weapon depot places and facilities. And Israel's been flying in there, doing attacks, blowing these things up periodically. But at some point, you got to put an end to it. And wow. All right.
We're there. And, people just need to be aware of the times we're in. And most important is prepare yourself spiritually, because we know we're going to die eventually, but we may be dying sooner than we planned, from where we're located. Get on board with the Lord and be sure you're saved, because that's the most important treasure you've got.
Amen. Amen to that, Stan. God bless you for that. Again, guys, go to empshield.com. That's www.empshield.com and use that promo code Begley. If you're going to buy more than 3 units or more, you put an extra 10 on there, okay?
EXTRA 10 code, yeah.
Yes, and do that and make sure you get it. Stan, thank you for coming on. We'll be back pretty quick here. I'm not going to wait around. We're going to get you back in here. There's too much going on too fast. So
you're so right, boy. It's confusing, but yeah, we'll do another show.
All right. Thanks a lot, Stan. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye now. Lord bless you.
Amen.
Hey, everybody. I'm Andrew from EMP Shield, and today I'm excited to show you our new technology, the world's first whole-home EMP protection device. With over 37 models that can be used around the world, our family of EMP protection devices installs easily in minutes. Being employed this year by federal organizations and electrical companies, the EMP Shield has been tested at Keystone Compliance, a federally approved DoD testing facility. Also serving as one of the world's fastest whole-home surge protection devices, working in less than 1 nanosecond, the EMP Shield will protect against electromagnetic pulses, coronal mass ejections, lightning, and all forms of power surges. Proven to withstand more than 40 EMP strikes with zero degradation, the EMP Shield is also one of the world's strongest surge protectors, capable of withstanding over 100,000 amps. So, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like our video and post any comments you have down below. We're sure you guys are going to have quite a few questions, so our engineers are going to be on standby to answer any questions you may have. Most importantly, be sure to share our video, as we're sure your friends are also going to be interested in our new technology. Help us get an EMP Shield into every house in America. Thanks again for watching. Bye.